Hello and welcome to the Drawing Animal Podcast with Wesley Bare. I'm your host, Wesley Bare, and welcome to a new year, the first episode of a new year. Thank you all for listening. Continue to like and support this channel, and if you have any feedback, please let me know in the comments. But today's episode, we'll be talking about the Riverine rabbit. The Riverine rabbit is a medium-ish smallish rabbit, only about 52 centimeters, so not that big. Um, but it is probably the most rare, or one of the rarest, rabbits on the planet. They're considered critically endangered and found only in a few very isolated spots throughout South Africa. The riverine rabbit is most distinguished by its very colorful fur, including the especially strangely black to dark brown mark band that grows across its face, almost like a clownish kind of mark, like almost like that clown makeup you see, basically. And then highlighted by the distinctive tones of brown from more tannish to a darker color, and then highlighted by certain patches of orange and dark red, usually around the feet, legs, and the back of the neck. And they do have fairly long ears for a rabbit. But this, of course, is considered by its often more scrubland environment where it can be harsh at times. But they are careful not to live in too harsh an environment as they are a burrowing rabbit. They are the only burrowing rabbit in Africa, and thus, in order to burrow, they must have soft, deep sand or soil in which to dig in. So they are actually not often found far from water. This is why in the Dutch kind of British dialect in South Africa, they're also known as the pond haas. So it's just pond and then haas, which is the Dutch word for hare. So that's what they're known as, and why it explains their name Riverine rabbit, being found near a river. So that's where they'll spend the majority of their time. Um, and they'll feed on scrub and bushes near that kind of stream area or just in a dry river bed, so long as it, of course, doesn't get too dry. They are mostly nocturnal, which also explains why data on these rabbits is often very hard to know precisely on exactly how many there are, and because of their very rare nature, they are not often spotted. Um, they will m- mate and get together between August and March, with males tending to um, meet up with multiple females. The unfortunate thing is that despite being a rabbit and male rabbits meeting up with multiple females, only one to two babies are born at a time. And like, of course, all rabbits, they're born blind and hairless. And so they have a very slow breeding process in comparison to, let's say, a more European rabbit, which the Dutch and English settlers would have been more used to. But since its discovery in about 1902, 1903, it has been heavily hunted. A lot of the habitat, because it's kind of in that very rich soil, has often been dug up and used for agriculture or livestock, thus posing a threat to those things, also causing human rabbit conflict. So the large portion of their habitat has been destroyed, over two-thirds of it, counting in also the introduction of dogs to the area, domestic dogs, and you have a recipe for a huge disaster. Thankfully, the species has seen a slight increase in the last couple decades, due to the establishment of several wildlife trusts, conservation efforts, rebuilding of habitat, and as I mentioned with the dogs, trying to keep dog populations under control as needed within a certain area. Hopefully, again, at the working together with South African farmers and agricultural laborers to ensure that there's room, of course, enough for everyone. There are a couple regions specifically called Fauna and Valkoof where they have made quite a bit of a comeback. So hopefully this rabbit is on the increase. But again, uh, very much a rare bunny. Um, um, and, and sometimes when seasons get really tough, they will even have to rely on their own um, dung, their own poop, as a means of uh, vitamins and minerals. So they will do that occasionally as well. And actually, it's quite common in quite a few other rabbit species. So that's a little unpleasant, but comes with having to maintain and survive in pretty much a harsh environment and to get the necessary nutrients you need. And this is um, what an option considering that rabbits can't chew cud like, of course, deer, where they can get that extra nutrients by regurgitating and throwing it up and all that sort of stuff. So rabbits have to resort to other means in order to make sure they get enough of those rich uh, vitamins and minerals and all that sort of stuff. But there you are. There's the Riverine rabbit and a little bit more about rabbits at the very end. But if you would like to support me in my work, please go over to Amazon and get one of my 3 books, the Crazy Creatures series. I have one on Australian animals, sharks, and cats and dogs. I might actually, after this 4th book comes out, I might do an updated drawing version of the Australian animals. I'm thinking about that, or I'm looking at doing something completely different. So we'll see how that all works out. But there is a 4th book coming out, sort of in this series, sort of a little different, but it'll be kind of in that same vein. Also, hopefully in the next couple months, still a slow work in progress, a new website, and we'll see how that goes as well. Can't promise anything, but hopefully we'll just at least take in what's on this channel in the meantime. And I'm hoping to do way more in the future, doing some maybe zoo reviews and doing some animal talk just in general on conservation and some even maybe some Bible animal stuff. So that'll be interesting. So those are things to look forward in the new year. Hope you all enjoyed this podcast. Again, enjoy nature, enjoy drawing, enjoy God's creation, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.